Everybody, you're hanging out with Joe Leonardo and Alexander Turbin. This is Comic Books from Coast to Coast. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday. I'm hanging out with Alex over there on the East Coast. He's hanging out with me over here on the West Coast. We're looking at one of the original founder books from Image Comics, original line, first issue. What was your thoughts on this when you first cracked it open back in the day?
Oh, back in the day, I thought it was really cool. I don't think I loved it because I think I got maybe Cyberforce 1, 2, and maybe 3 at the time. But there was, uh, I certainly loved is Ripclaw. Ripclaw, I really gravitated towards. I thought he was really cool. But the other characters I thought were kind of forgettable. What are their
Really?
what are their names? What are all their names?
It's Impact.
This is Impact.
Yeah, Impact is the big guy.
Oh,
We
the
got
big guy.
Striker.
Okay.
Yeah. Impact is the
Okay. All right.
the whatever the Colossus.
Yeah.
Then we have Striker in the place of Cyclops.
Yeah,
Or maybe
in
not.
the place of Cyclops.
Maybe Striker might be in the place of
No, it's definitely
Cable.
Cyclops. No, it's definitely Cyclops.
And
he's
then
the leader. He's the leader, right?
No, because Impact or Heatwave is the leader.
Is that Heatwave's the leader?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. I would have thought that he was the leader.
No, Heatwave is the actual leader of the team.
What's up, Byron?
Oh, right on. Always cool when people come by. Hey, what's going on, Byron? It's nice to see you today.
Yeah.
And then we have Ripclaw, obviously.
Ripclaw,
and then Cyblade.
And
then we're missing Cyblade. And these are all just, these are all stand-ins for, like, we could say, like, this is Havoc, this is Cyclops, this is Colossus, this is Wolverine, and this is
yeah. When I read it yesterday, I really it really connected with me. I don't think at the time I really knew how much of a X-Men ripoff it was. But it really resonated yesterday rereading it. I mean, they even used mutants. They even used the word mutants.
This was originally designed to be when he pitched this to Marvel, he pitched it as another X book. It was supposed to be, a branch off of X-Force and all that stuff. That's why it's called Cyberforce. It was just going to be cyberly, enhanced mutants. And that's really all it is. Yeah. But I mean, dude, look at that wraparound cover. I want to say that the cover to Entropy Alliance, the first one or whatever, is very influenced by this or whatever. Like, I was really inspired to do a wraparound cover, and I think this is definitely one of the ones that really like inspired me. I love this cover. So awesome. Even though it is just, a generic X-Men sort of layout thing. We have these characters up here.
I have no clue. I didn't know the front characters. I would have no idea who they are.
And then we have
and I just read it yesterday.
That's funny. We have Killjoy, like she's super fast, and then
this is a lady. No,
that's here on the left. It's a woman. Killjoy, she's super fast, and then Ballistic, she's sort of like a female, freaking
Domino.
No, the guy from the X-Men or whatever. Cable. She's a little bit like a female Cable or whatever, she's just like a one-man arsenal type of thing.
Yeah. She even has the eye with the scar.
Yeah, with the glowy piece to it or whatever. And then her sister, whose name isn't coming to me, like for some reason, even though she's the main character.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. On the main page, front page.
Yeah, she's the main character or whatever, really.
Yeah.
Like coming
to you think if we send money into this, they'll send us a copy of Image Comics?
I don't have to. I have mine. I have my Image Comics 0 somewhere.
Oh, I do too, but I was just wondering if they would still do it. Probably not.
I think if you don't have this coupon, your book is worthless. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta held on to your coupon, man. Can't let the coupon go.
You have to send the money? I don't think it. Oh, yeah. Check your money orders and close for shipping. Yeah. So it's free. other than the shipping, which is
Okay, I
kind of
remember her
cool.
name. Her name is Velocity. That's right, Velocity.
Velocity. Yeah,
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 she's a a Flash or whatever,
yeah,
or
yeah,
Quicksilver, or whoever you want to.
yeah. That's what Byron said. Velocity. He said the the art rocks, but these Image books writing really sucks. I actually thought the writing in this wasn't too horrible.
You know,
I
dude, I have to
didn't
say
love it.
this book hit me like a ton of bricks when it came out back in the day. Out of all the Image Founder books, this was my favorite one by
Yeah,
far.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I liked it better than Wildcats. I liked it better than Spawn. And I wouldn't even, dude, like stuff like Youngblood and like Savage Dragon, I wouldn't even put on the scale, dude. Those things were whack compared to this thing, dude. Like,
yeah.
and it's
This is
trippy.
the
I was just
problem
gonna say,
is
like,
the problem
it's
is it's just too much X-Men. Too much. There's nothing
I don't have
original.
a problem with that. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'm really fascinated with people's original characters, and I love to see, original characters of stories, like in characters I don't know anything about. Like,
Yeah,
even if it was like, just a complete ripoff of the Phoenix saga, I would still be into it just because it's like with different characters or whatever, and I would want to see how his version played out or whatever. Like, I'm
yeah,
just like that. That's just me, like I could totally understand why some people might look at it and think it's too derivative. Like, I totally get that. Um, but I was just thinking like how like the Image guys were kind of able to all like with all the different pieces that they put on the board, that they did a pretty good job of like covering everything that might be really interesting to people. We got like vampire hunting, like mercenaries and wet works, and then you have like a RoboCop style, like superhero cop, with
yeah,
Savage
yeah,
Dragon. You got
yeah.
the government run sort of supermodel team, with Youngblood, and then you got
Right,
the covert spy hunters, in Wildcats, and then you got this direct X-Men clone thing, with like cybernetic, robot arms or whatever, and robot legs, over here,
right,
and
right.
they did, and then even like Valentino, you know, freaking armored, vigilante that goes around snapping people's spines, like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
all
yeah,
cover those really like sort of like cheesy, sort of like, movie canon film style characters, like that
yeah,
anyone might be interested in, getting a hold of. Image did a really good job of like, covering the spectrum of all these cool ideas, all their original stuff. So you have to
yeah,
put your
yeah.
hats off to those guys for all the
Yeah.
cool
Oh,
ideas
yeah.
that they came up
You have
with,
to you have to give Image props no matter what. I mean, they broke away from Marvel and DC. They changed everything, and even if you don't love the art or you don't love the stories or whatever, you got to give them massive props for doing what they did.
Yeah.
I didn't continue reading Cyberforce. Do they break off from the X-Men mold, or do they kind of stay with it?
Dude, I don't think they do very much. I don't think they do any more than like Wildcats does, because Wildcats is the same thing. It's just, instead of mutants, they're aliens or whatever. You know what I mean? But it doesn't really change the fact that the characters are all basically just subliminal ripoffs. Like Maul is Colossus,
Right,
Warblade
right.
is, I mean, Wolverine. They all have this, Spartan and Cyclops. I mean, it's the same thing, like.
Yeah, yeah.
But even like, dude, even my book, Six Lords of Sound, is that same way. Like, all the characters are just one-to-ones of like X-Men clones for the most
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
So,
Well,
I don't,
yours are DC clones.
well, yeah. Well, I mean, Entropy Alliance, they definitely are.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
I personally, I just don't, what I mean? I don't trip on that very much. But yeah, most of these characters are basically one-offs of like, characters from, this is like the Jubilee character, and that's the Wolverine, and that's the Jean
yeah,
Grey, and that's the Cyclops, and
yeah, yeah,
we have the Colossus and the Havoc character, like they're all there basically. I didn't change very much. But back to Cyberforce here, and I really loved the art. I mean, the coloring was really next level. I loved the drama of the story opening up. Man, the art really blew me away back in the day. Like, this was my introduction to Mark Silvestri, and this is like
I think he's a lot tighter on this than he is on the X-Men books.
like
Maybe it's
especially
because
way tighter here than he is, like say on Wolverine.
yeah, yeah. Maybe it's because I wonder if he inks himself and for Marvel those X-Men stuff. I'll have to
Yeah,
look that up.
maybe Scott Williams might be the secret ingredient to making this stuff look so great, like it does. Like it really could be.
Well, Silvestri inked this
Is that right? He does
on his own.
everything.
I assume it says
Oh, you're
artist
right.
Mark Silvestri.
Yeah, we later on the later issues it has Scott Williams
Yeah,
doing it, but
yeah.
Scott Williams it doesn't look that different from this, to be perfectly
No,
honest.
no. Well, they're cut from the same mold, but I like
Yeah,
Silvestri doesn't like finish a lot of his lines in his Marvel stuff anyway. But this he really kind of does finish his lines. You know what I'm talking about, how it's kind of wispy
I do.
where it's not really finished.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Like in like the Conan stuff, there's a lot of looseness to the characters in the backgrounds and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And
yeah,
yeah, especially in the Wolverine stuff too. Like things are. I think it's just a breakneck pace at the Marvel side probably.
yeah.
And
Well,
over
there's
here,
nothing wrong with it. It's obviously awesome, but it's just a different style.
yeah, I think over here he probably just had more time to produce the work and was probably really into it because it's something you make up and it's completely your own thing for the first time or whatever, so
Yeah.
that probably,
I wouldn't be surprised
you
if
know,
Jim Lee did some behind the scenes inking on this. This looks
I
super
wouldn't
Jim
be
Lee.
surprised either. I mean, you never know. I mean, there's a certain amount of competition taking place between those two guys,
Oh yeah,
and I know,
yeah,
I know that for a fact, like Jim Lee, was kind of the most sort of like on the wall of all of them. Like, really wasn't 100% about this. And I
oh yeah,
understand that Mark Silvestri's finally agreeing to come on board was one of the things that really kind of like helped him agree to taking part, because I know he was worried that they didn't have enough awesome artists. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like he wasn't
yeah,
really like didn't like Jim Valentino's work and didn't really like Savage Dragon stuff all that much, and
yeah,
it was just like him and Todd like holding up the art side, and then like Liefeld, where he falls in that, he's sort of like in between, like somewhere he's like can go hyper detailed, but he could be real loose and sloppy too. So I think having Silvestri come on board was one of those things that sort of solidified his thinking that they could pull it off. And I mean, look
yeah,
at that thing, dude. Like this is
yeah.
what
That's pretty
comics is
awesome.
all about right here to me. Like this is it for me right here, dude. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
this is where the birth of my like obsession with double page spreads comes from right here, man. Like
yeah,
this is
yeah,
it. How great is that? I mean,
yeah.
that
That's pretty
is
cool.
just like fan freaking tastic to me.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
is like later on they would get so advanced with the coloring, it would look so out like this lightning bolt in the sky is kind of goofy looking or whatever, but it's still hecka cool.
yeah, yeah. It's very cool, and also I really appreciate the detail in the background. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like this was Liefeld. This would have been all blacked out, or something like that.
Oh
There's
yeah,
a good amount of
this is
detail.
like the predecessor to that, like that thing David Finch does with the really busy backgrounds, or like
Yeah, yeah,
a lot of the DC guys do this, really convex, like super, 5-point perspective or whatever like this. But man, I've definitely copied this building right here a couple of times. Like maybe not like
yeah,
this angle or whatever, but I'll put this detail on it. You know what I mean? Just because
yeah,
all this
yeah,
detail looks so good or whatever. Like, it's just like fun and accurate and pretty easy to lay down. Just you get
yeah,
your
yeah,
French curves out and just make a bunch of these little curves. And yeah, man, I've definitely like copied that building a couple of times.
yeah,
But man, that's just so awesome to me. And these like this great, banner down here introducing the character to everybody for the first time, Rip Claw just
yeah,
coming at you. And this was the stuff like really, like I just wanted to like, man, I just wanted to combine Mark Silvestri and like Walsh Portacio, and that was like my goal in life. You know what I mean? Was to take those two guys that I just both thought were so amazing, you know, and combine their styles.
Eric Silvestri. He's the writer.
Yeah, it's his brother. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think the story's great. Like I'm of that Michael Bay, you know, I'm like one of those guys that watched Pearl Harbor and was like, I thought it was pretty good, you know, like
You like Pearl Harbor? Well, I guess
yeah,
to each his own.
I thought Pearl Harbor was a fun watch, you know. I
Yeah.
saw it in the
Yeah.
theater. I thought it was
Yeah.
excellent. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's not Titanic, but you know, it's still pretty fun
Yeah.
to watch, you know. So
Yeah.
like I'm like that, and I like the, you know, flashy cheesiness of this next scene that we're coming up on, you know, we're introducing the characters in this very
Yeah.
similar X-Men kind of
Toy,
way. Yeah,
toy something.
everything that's kind of one of the cornier things about Cyberforce is everything has like a, what do they call that when it's like the word breaks down everything that it is or whatever, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know that.
It's like, you know,
I
like
know what you.
core, you know, like
Yeah.
it's cybernetic operatives protection and security, you know, like core, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everything has got, you know, like some sort of like breakdown of its name, you know. That's kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But that's okay. That's okay.
we've got the little characters, Timmy and Jimmy, and you know, Jimmy's a super scientist boy, and he makes a little replicant child, you know, that's like his little brother, Timmy, and you know, I think there was a
Yeah.
handful of Timmys in the Image universe. Timmy over in Pitt as well, didn't we?
Is that I don't think I ever read The Pit, to
You
be
never
honest.
read Pitt?
I never read Pit. Maybe we'll have to
Pitt's
go
a
over
little
that.
bit like I don't know. Pitt's a little bit like it's like he's an
Isn't it more like
ultimate.
Hulk?
No, Pitt's more like it's a little bit like Terminator or something, kind of, you know, where it's like
Oh
Pitt is like a ultimate being, like he's like their highest, like what like in your story, the Krieg, or no, the Bjorn, no, is it the Krieg? Yeah, it's the Krieg. They
Freak.
have like their different mutation tanks, and they have different levels of mutations that they can achieve, you know.
Oh
And
yeah.
like the Pit is like their one of their ultimate level mutations as far as like how dangerous and powerful he is. And then he gets like turned on, like it's supposed to be just like a mindless killing machine drone for them. And then the empathy of this alien accidentally gets linked into it, you know, and it gets like, you know, a mind of its own or whatever. And then
Yeah.
when it like escapes, it lands on Earth, and it, you know, the first thing it comes across is that little kid Timmy, and it bonds with the little kid. You know, the little kid is on the A train or whatever, you know, and he accidentally ports into Earth on the middle of this freaking, you know, subway, and the little kid is the first thing he comes across, you know, and then he like psychically bonds the little kid Timmy, you know.
Huh. That's cool. Yeah.
Never read Pitt. It's crazy.
Here's the. Yeah. It's weird. I don't know why. Did that come out? That must have come out after the core
Yeah, I
title.
want to say it's maybe like a year or two after, like it's, you know, Pitt makes one of his first appearances in Cyberforce #3. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure. Yeah,
I
because
wonder if that. I wonder if it's more valuable because of that.
they're guest starring across each other's things at this point. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
if you're watching, like if you're paying attention in Youngblood, there's a scene where Spawn pops up.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like in a trench coat, and he's like watching himself on TV, you know, where while the Youngbloods are like watching TVs through a mall window, and you know what I mean? They would all sort of pop up in each other's books in little ways or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Which is cool.
actually,
I
like
like that.
if you're paying attention, like right here at the beginning, like this midget right here, right?
Yeah.
That's Marlowe or whatever from the Wildcats.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, you
That's
remember
cool.
the Wildcats in the first
Yeah.
episode? He wakes up in the alley all
Yeah.
dirty and drunk or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
thinking like, "Oh, I had a rough night. What I don't remember what happened last night." Well, this is what he's remembering.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so they were kind of like crossing each other's stuff up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So then
So
there's
anyway, you know,
rip
We're
off of
introducing the characters. Yeah, we got Heat Wave here, and we got Timmy
yeah.
and freaking Jimmy, and then we
This
come
is
over here and
basically the who's the senator in X-Men that Kitty
Senator
Pryde
Kelly.
comes. Yeah, Senator Kelly. Yeah,
Yeah. So we got
what's
our
his name?
Senator Kelly here, and he's a blue skin mutant, and he's
Yeah,
preaching about mutant rights, and everybody's worried that someone's going to try and take him out, so that he's got some like special mutant protection there. And of course, we got somehow some guy gets a high powered rifle, past the freaking inspection line, and is about to take our senator guy out. And we get this spectacular
double page
shot.
spread.
Another double page spread. It's fantastic. Super awesome coloring. I'm guessing this is Joe Chiodo, probably. Yep.
I don't know. It's yep. Joe
So
Chiodo. And
awesome.
it's not digital, I don't think.
No, I don't think this is digital yet. Well, I mean, it is. I think it is. No, but you know what? It's colored with markers first. Like he does all this with markers, and then someone else like is doing the separations.
Right. It
Yeah.
might be
So
digital because Malibu is the
it is. See right
working
here
with
where
them,
it
and
says
that's why Marvel bought Malibu was for the
it
color.
says Cynthia Sullivan color separator. That she did
Yeah.
it on. That just means she colored
Yeah.
it on Photoshop or whatever. Like, but
Right.
Joe Chiodo colored it with pins. Did the breakdown with pins or whatever, and then she came along and she did it on the computer.
Yeah.
Damn, that's badass though, dude. I love that shot. That's so cool. And just the asymmetric nature of the character with four arms, but three of them are on one side.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
love
like that a
that.
lot.
And I
Yeah. Yeah.
ripped
That's
that
cool.
off in Six Lords of Sound. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's another thing I totally ripped off. That he's having a guitar player with asymmetric arms like that. Because that's
Yeah.
just like I love that idea. Super cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then great storytelling here. He just pushes the center out of the way. Boom, just blast this guy. And this shot of him getting shot up is rad, man. You just really feel the bullet passing through this guy. It almost looks a little bit like an EC, character getting like shredded up somehow back in the day. Who knows? He could be getting acid poured on him or something, like
Yeah.
back in the old horror comics, And I love that his style has got that old school vibe in it because it's like half John Buscema and half, or no, I mean the Conan guy. Who am I thinking of? Not John Buscema.
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about though. I can't think of the guy who does the Conan stuff. Not Barry Windsor Smith, the other dude. But yeah, just him and Walter Simonson. Like Mark Silvestri's style is sort of like a cross up. Is it? God, why is it not coming to me now? I hate that. I can never think of these guys' names.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Old
But
man
just
brain, I
gorgeous,
call it.
gorgeous art and really
Yeah,
good storytelling. I think.
Do you like this panel here?
Yes, dude. Look at
I'm not
everything that's
entirely sure
happening
about
here.
it.
Look, I mean, look at
I
that.
use this kind of
1, 2,
shot
3,
all the
4,
time,
5,
but
6, 7, 8 characters in this tiny little panel.
yeah.
Look back here, like, okay, we have this guy, he's laid out on the bunting or whatever, like he's what I mean, he's like falling behind it, his legs are like hanging over it. We got another guy over here, he's reacting, a secret agent dude. We got like this guy and his wife, and they're trying to back out of the way of the the fire line. We got this guy back here reacting to all of it. Freaking this guy here in the foreground trying to get away. Stryker way back there, targeting this dude. I mean, there's a lot happening in there. We have this like wine glass flying in the air. I love panels like this because it really shows it really feels alive to me. You know what I mean? Like he really captures that chaos of that, the guy pushing everybody out of the way, trying to escape freaking moment.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do as a drawing. I mean, we all understand what it is because we've seen it a million times in movies and TV shows or whatever, but it's still hard to convey that kind of movement and, in a still illustration.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think of Sideblade's costume over here and her design?
I don't like it.
No?
No. I don't really think, and none of the characters really grab me.
Oh man, I
Other
love it.
other than this one, he's the only one that kind of and Ripclaw and this one kind of grabbed me. The other ones,
Striker.
I really don't
Yeah,
not
Striker and
not that
Ripclaw are the
thrilled
two
about.
coolest of them, you know. And you know, I guess Heatwave probably is the lamest out of all of them, I guess, you know, because he just sort of has like a it looks like he's
Here's
just wearing a garage
here's
jumpsuit with a metal
here's
mask,
the
you know.
thing. Here's the thing. Um, you know, some of the badness of the X-Men movies or any superhero movie is that they will show a character because they know people like them, but then they won't do anything with them, like Psylocke. They just kind of show her. She, does a little bit, but not enough. And it's just like I need to know the character of the people, of the I need to know who they are, and I need to know, something about them. It can't just be a cool costume for me.
No, honestly I agree. And what you're talking about, what I would call what you're talking about is like the silver age element, which gets lost in the 90s, you know,
Yeah,
which is like to say that it's interesting. Okay, say like over time, like Marvel and DC especially gets lost in the idea of like just sort of telling the same kind of stories again and again and again. Like, oh no,
right.
Superman's
Yeah,
running around and Mr. Mistleplick pops up and now you're in backwards land, Superman and everybody's walking and talking backwards to you, or you know what I mean? It'll always be,
yeah, yeah,
just you know, and over time, we that like sort of like an orbit of a planet, it moves us away from the sun of what the idea is, which is this character having these adventures or whatever. So then, in the 90s, all these artists bring it back, like John Byrne, with his Man of Steel stuff, and you know, uh Dark Knight, and just everybody brings it back to these more hardcore ideas of what it is. But at the same time, it's fun, and I think there's an element of where like something like Dark Knight or something like Man of Steel, where you really bring the character back to like its root idea, like that only works really well like after we've seen Batman and Robin on a teeter totter at the park playing with kids and being the friendly uncle character for so long, or seeing Superman be just like turned from like the Man of Steel to this like Boy Scout character that's like, always, put out your fires, kid, and make sure to never litter when you're at parks, like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
easier to embrace them again as like that old thing when we've seen all these things that show their character, and then we really get to know them over time. You know what I mean? We've like
right, right, right.
seen so many stories with these different aspects of them just over 50 years that you really understand, you know, Batman, or you really understand Spider-Man, or you really understand the Hulk or the Fantastic Four, because we had so much character. And then when they did like stuff in the 90s, when they reboot it without any of that, they
Yeah,
just go back to the
yeah,
core ideas. They're like, oh, I'm a super strong monster and I'm a super cool guy who sets fires, and I'm the smartest man in the world and I can stretch. And it's cool, but it loses it's like fruit stripe gum. It loses its flavor so fast because there's
it
nothing
does, it does. That's what
inside of
Image's
it.
problem was. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's kind of
But
what
also,
Image's
also
problem was.
other than that, creating characters and creating superhero costumes that are unique and catching, not even costumes, but just characters. Creating a character that really resonates with people, that really catches their eye. That there's something, you know it could be so simple of an idea or whatever, but people, might really love it and catch on to it. Whereas if you have like this complex costume idea or character idea, then, people might not like it as much. So it's super hard. It is
Yeah.
it's a super hard thing to come up with, not just a character, but an original character that catches people's imaginations.
I agree 100%, like where it all just falls together. And it tends to either
Yeah.
just work or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Normally
Yeah.
that's just how it works, like either you got
Yeah.
it right and people are like, yes, or something's missing and people are like, no. And like, recently, like I've been, going through and completely boarding up and bagging up my collection of Silver Age stuff. And you
Yeah.
really see that theme play out a lot in those early years of Marvel, where they're just like, like they had that success with Spider-Man and Hulk and all that stuff. So they reach a point where they're just like, this new thing and this new idea, and like none of them are sticking, like none of them are any good. Here comes Omega, the Ultimate Man, oh, here's Dr. Voodoo, the voodoo priest, superhero, and I mean, they're just like trying all kinds of stuff, Frankenstein is back from the dead, and just like,
But then sometimes you have a character that is, maybe, I don't know if you'd say mediocre, but then an artist or writer like Daredevil. Daredevil before Frank Miller was pretty mediocre, but then he turns this mediocre character into this fantastic character. So sometimes it's artist and writer. That's why, you really need to, like, Image is great for the art, but they didn't have the stories to back up their characters.
Yeah, I will say that, Daredevil was a cool character way before Frank Miller ever got his hands
He was
on him.
cool, but he was a C-list character, and Frank Miller turned him
Well,
into an A-list character.
like, just speaking on my personal experience, like as a kid growing up, being a comic book kid, and like I had all the DC stuff first, and then I came to the Marvel stuff afterwards, like not that far after, but like, maybe, I collected for maybe 3 or 4 years, and then slowly, started discovering the Marvel stuff, just because it's at my corner store and I'm starting to buy it or whatever. But the thing that attracted me to Marvel was that, it has that interesting science-based, like a lot of the characters were like, they're all accidents of science or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that, they're each of them have very cool hooks. Iron Man wears a modern night suit, essentially, is how I approached it as a kid. It's like a knight in shining armor, but he's a robot man. It's an awesome idea. I loved it. Spider-Man, a super athletic, super, agile, scary guy. He's like Batman. He's like teenage Batman, but with spiders. I loved it.
Yeah.
Daredevil, a blind man that cannot see, but somehow sees better than everybody else around him. I loved that idea. That was like, that was one of the, I mean, out of all the Marvel characters, that might have been the coolest idea, as far as like the character that he was, or the concept behind the character. Like, I just thought, a super agile, super strong, you know what I mean, blind guy who could see 360 degrees around him. Like, I thought that was a rad idea. So it's not that mind blowing that someone could take a concept that cool and really make something great out of it.
No, it's not.
It's more like, it's hard to believe that it was a goofy character for so long, because it's such a strong idea that people couldn't do anything else with it but make it like because he was sort of like the soap opera character of Marvel or whatever.
Yeah,
I guess
he really was.
But I mean, in those early days, he's just really in and out of a lot of romances and that kind of thing. It's mostly about that more than him being a superhero, even.
Yeah. But then also you have characters that, as soon as you see him, you're like, that's my favorite character. I mean, Wolverine.
Ghost Rider.
As soon as you see him, you're like, this is a friggin' awesome dude.
Yeah, Wolverine and Ghost Rider for sure.
Ghost Rider, Punisher. As soon as I saw the Punisher, I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Yeah. So it's not easy. I don't like her costume. But if she had a cool background, characterization and story and all that stuff, I could definitely grow to like it.
I like her,
but at the same time, I just not really. It doesn't grab me right off the bat.
Sure, me a little bit of like Pris from Blade Runner with his haircut. You know what I mean? And I thought that was pretty cool. I like the chrome thing, dude, but I'm a sucker for that stuff. Like, I liked that. I like that everybody in Cyberforce had chrome all over their costumes. You know what I mean? Like, at the time, I thought that was awesome. I just love every page of art in this book. There probably isn't one page that I don't think is beautiful. And you'll see me utilize these things a lot. in these kind of layouts where you're just like you're showing the action, and you have like a nice big close up or whatever, because they just look great. When you put a big beautiful face up on there, and then you have some nice action around it, it just tends to feel very dramatic.
Yeah, I like this page. I like this page a lot.
I do like. There's just like the coloring. Storytelling, I love how he's like, they're trying to escape in the van here.
Come closer, smash through it.
We got these big, lumbering runs, like the left foot, then the right foot, and then, impacts right through the thing. And then we get his name down here, because that's what you always have to do in these things. You always have to introduce the character with their little nameplate right next to them so we can get, the idea through our head or whatever. I did love this little shot of her, like, frying this guy. I feel like back in the Marvel stuff, you would have never been able to do this shot. Psylocke could never do this. And it's cool.
Well, they didn't have the Comics Code Authority on their ass. So.
Yeah, it's cool that they're free now to actually put that kind of stuff in the books. I felt like it elevated it and gave it a. It made it feel more like a PG-13 movie, which is what I was looking for, and this kind of thing. Like, I'm looking for that Star Wars sort of like, the X-Men movies level of like violence and action. And this is kind of thing is like perfectly servicing my needs,
Yeah.
The art is just absolutely gorgeous. This shot of, Ripclaw coming up behind these generic looking enforcer cats. I loved their armor, and their freaking weapons and stuff. I loved how, it all looks very unified. These shock troopers.
Yeah. Looks kind of Jim Lee-ish.
It is. It's super
Jim Lee-ish. Maybe Jim Lee's armor looks Silvestri-ish. I don't know.
I know for a fact that Mark Silvestri was trying to draw like Jim Lee as much as he could. I know that's a fact because I've heard him say it like several times where he was like, Jim Lee was, making the big bucks and he was like Marvel's golden child or whatever, you know what I mean? He had just become like their number one guy and he wanted to cash in and get some of that Jim Lee money,
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Another nice big double page splash storytelling page. Like, what do you think of the storytelling on this page, man? It's fantastic.
I like this. I like how it's double page spread, and then on the bottom it's not, because you can get that big wide panel there, and you get all of that what you really love, the action and stuff. But then you also get the story, below without any kind of confusion. And like so many of these kind of things where you have you'll have like intermingled, like you're supposed to read it like from here to here to here to here, but you're so confused because of the way it's set up. This isn't confusing at all.
Yeah, it's not confusing at all. You instantly know right across the top, and then we got these three nice setup panels and this nice one at the bottom to just like close it all out. Really beautiful stuff. Really thoughtfully laid out without anything important in the gutters here. And just to give you a little bit of like, a ray of sunshine for you, look at this professional book and it still has a gap between the layout. It's not perfectly aligned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know you struggle with those when we do the double page spreads. So I'm just saying, like, look at this. Like,
well, just printing in general. The newest Random Access has some pretty messed up pages that I got to fix, but I'm sending out a bunch of them anyway. So anybody out there will have a misprint.
I'm sure they're very good.
Yeah, well, every publisher misprints some books, and they become more collectible.
I have 4 issues of 6 Lords of Sound where the pages are like, backwards or whatever. I never bothered you with it because most of them are all fine. I have them put away in a drawer somewhere. They're very valuable.
Right. Very valuable. Okay, cool. Well, hopefully hopefully they're not all like that.
No, it was only like 4. It's like 3 or 4 of them, something like that.
All right.
The rest of them were all perfect.
Okay, cool.
So here we go. We have another like a beautiful shot of impact, or not ballistic here, and I love her costume. Like once again, like she's like the female.
I do like her costume.
Like I love the purple and the chrome again. We got the shock troopers back here again. He's
And
really
the
going for
cleavage.
it too. Like he's getting, yeah, gorgeous looking. She's just a gorgeous looking character. She
Yeah.
is actually Velocity's big sister in the bigger
Right.
story of this stuff. Like
Right.
I don't know if you know that yet, but she's like Velocity is actually part of this organization, and this is oh
She's a
god,
bad
what are
guy,
these
right?
guys
Is she
called?
a good guy or bad guy?
Well, they're both kind of similar things. It's like they're both like Cyberforce, and then what are these other guys called? Freaking oh man, I can never remember these dumb characters' names. Cyberdata. Yeah.
Cyber
So
data.
there's Cyberdata, and that's like half of the members of Cyberforce were all Cyberdata originally.
Right.
And I believe
Right.
Cyberdata is like the one that's making these guys. You know what I mean? Like they're taking the mutants and then enhancing them with cybernetic abilities.
Yeah.
So you have like Stryker, who's like a 3-armed mutant or like a 4-armed mutant, but they take 3 of his arms and turn them into robot arms. You know what I mean? And
Right.
freaking
Right.
brace them up with a bunch of super strength and stuff. And and then they give him a targeting computer in his brain, over at one eye or whatever. So now he's got 3 robot arms and a targeting system in his brain, and so he essentially becomes like a 4-armed Gatling gun, with a human brain or whatever.
Did Cyberforce Spawn had a movie and a cartoon, Wildcats had a cartoon, Youngblood had a cartoon, right?
Almost had a cartoon. The Youngblood never got a cartoon.
Witchblade had a live action show.
And a
Did
cartoon.
Cyberforce have anything?
Nope. Neither Cyberforce nor Youngblood never got the cartoon or like a TV show or movie or nothing.
Youngblood did have it. I don't know if they ever released
It didn't
it.
have it. They were going to make it. Like they have the intro to one or whatever.
Oh, right.
But there's no TV show.
Huh.
Like it was in development or whatever, you know what I mean? And
Right,
they actually
right.
they did like, animate the opening sequence, but that's all there is. There's
Right,
also
yeah.
there's a opening sequence like that for a Steve Rude Nexus cartoon.
Huh.
Have you ever seen that?
I've never read Nexus, so I'm not really.
No?
I know what it is.
Yeah, I've like maybe 1 or 2 issues somewhere. Like I'm not a big Nexus guy either, but I'm aware of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like you could never make a little kid's cartoon about a guy who's a space executioner.
Right, right, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Nexus flies around and murders people. Like that's not going to work as a Hanna-Barbera style cartoon.
Yeah, yeah. I like this scene here where she's shooting the ladder or whatever, and then he falls.
Oh, it's excellent, dude. I think all of it is really just like the storytelling is really freaking rock solid. The colors, the layout. I mean, I model a lot of my art after this guy, and you can see a lot of the freaking stuff I do, like just like these little panels that you have like a lot of little characters and just trying to tell the freaking story real, like this shot of the this freaking thing coming down, very cinematic. I love these little guys, these little characters at the bottom, and how you get all of it in this nice long angle. That's gorgeous, dude. Like
yeah. The only thing is that I don't think, and most artists, most comic book artists have a hard time with this. This is nonstop action issue, and that's cool because that's what it is. But when there's just a resting scene where it's just a couple characters talking or something, I think that a lot of artists have a hard time with that. This isn't too bad. This isn't too bad, but I think it could actually be a lot better.
Well, I'll say that this is a little generic. This whole like, oh, the bad guy looking out the window of the city or whatever. Like we've seen that a million times. But dude, what about this shot up here of the city, though? The silhouette of the city, freaking with all these dark clouds behind it.
That's pretty cool. But I need more interaction with these characters. She looks like a cool character. I just need some more. Like you're gonna have those scenes where your characters are just talking, and
for sure,
and there's no action going on. There's just talking, and there's just a little bit of time to take a break from the action. And I think those those are when you really need to focus in on doing it as interesting as you can.
No, I 100% agree. That's hecka funny because that's like what you're talking about right now is like literally exactly what I'm working on in the Entropy
Yeah,
Alliance
yeah.
stuff right now, which is
And
like the
it's the
same.
hardest. John
Yeah,
Byrne often
they're
said
like
that was the hardest part.
and I agonized over what they would be talking about. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah,
oh, like I need this quiet moment where they're like, just being like regular people. And then I wrote 3 or 4 versions of it, trying to like, make sure it wasn't too generic sounding or whatever. But yeah, you gotta put that stuff in. And then just like you said, it's a place to like divulge the character. And it's all about the sequence I put in is like all about him learning about how like relationships learn on earth, or like how they happen, and then he's speaking about how that stuff takes place on his planet, and then that
yeah,
leads them to talking about how his planet was destroyed and what happened there, you know what I mean? So it's like a moment for you to learn about him as a character a little bit,
yeah,
learn about why the things that happened and what he's feeling about them and that kind
yeah,
of stuff. So
yeah,
just like you're saying, it's just like a moment to breathe and just
yeah.
learn about the
Take a
characters
breath.
for a minute.
Yeah,
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 before they go off on more fights and all that kind of crap or whatever.
yeah.
But we have a nice quiet moment here, and this character is like really mystique.
She's pretty cool.
We'll say,
She's mystique, but it's I like this. I like this costume. Does
yeah, the
she is
colors
she
are
in this?
fantastic.
Is she in this more often
Yeah, she's one of the main characters. Her name is Mother
later
May
on?
I.
Yeah. How many issues of Cyberforce do you think you have?
I
Do
have
you have the whole?
the whole first like 25 issues, I want to say.
Yeah. 'Cause I
Because
know
first,
Chris Claremont starts writing, or he wrote
yeah,
12
he's
or
good. Like,
14 or
his
something.
issues aren't especially good, but they're all right. Like, I
Yeah.
would say it's like, like the Alan Moore issues of Wildcats are better than like the Chris Claremont
Well,
episodes
I
of
mean, obviously,
of Cyberforce.
obviously. I
But
mean, I love Chris Claremont, but I would rate him uh an 8, maybe a 9, whereas Alan Moore is like a 10 for me.
yeah, Alan Moore just has like he just understands the classic composition of comic book. He just understands really how to embrace older ideas and warm
Yeah.
them. They're like who can like put them into newer concepts, like like carving into a sword or whatever, like the way they
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
pearl inletting into a guitar or something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
like he weaves it into the the modern context in a way that feels very natural, and it's hard to
Yeah.
do. Kurt
Yeah.
Busiek in Astro City does it too. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah. Yeah.
it's not too many people that can get there, but it's really good when people can do it.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
so we're having a little flashback scene here, and we're seeing
Yeah.
this is Velocity as a little girl here, and she's obviously grown up in a little bit of a troubled environment. And then we have this like ghostly mother figure here. We find out later that is actually mother over here, and
This is their
she's
mother?
growing up. Yeah,
This is their mother?
yeah,
This is
that
their
is
mother?
Velocity and Ballistic's mother. Yes, we
Oh.
find that out later on.
Do we figure out why she's blue and why these guys are not? And why
No,
does
I
she
don't know
have
that they ever addressed that. Maybe that might be something they took care of later on, but in the first issues I have, I don't think that was ever
I
addressed.
mean, they're mutants, so I guess it doesn't. Are they mutants? They must
Yeah,
be
they're
mutants.
mutants.
Like,
Yeah, they are. They're
and
mutants.
she has this black lightning bolt on her here, but she doesn't when she's a little kid.
No,
I
that
wonder if they
happens
address
later
that.
on. I have the story where they explain that.
Oh,
She
okay.
actually, because see, like she's growing up in an abused house, and this
Yeah,
is Velocity, and this little blonde girl down here in the corner, that's Ballistic, and they're growing up together. Ballistic is her older sister, and she sticks up for
yeah,
you know
yeah,
when the little sister is being beaten and abused, and they end up growing up. They get split up, and you find out in later on stories that I think her name is Cassie. Velocity ends up growing up in a group home, and she has this white, pale, gray skin or whatever. So all the kids make fun of her, and they take her one day and they tattoo that lightning bolt onto her face.
right.
As a like cruel, thing or whatever,
Cruelty.
cruel act or whatever, they
Yeah,
pin her down
yeah, yeah.
and
That's
tattoo
cool.
her face like that.
That's cool.
So we're moving forward here, and she wakes up in the X mansion.
Yeah, yeah. Basically,
Essentially.
really, I mean, it's so beat for beat X-Men. It's
Yeah. She's essentially the Jubilee character
yeah,
here,
yeah.
like the Kitty Pryde, we'll say, and she wakes up and she's perfectly safe, and they're just like offering her sandwiches, and here's a little cool beat of the Spawn, the newscaster from the Spawn comics or whatever making her appearance, because they have that same generic broadcaster in all of the books originally. She's in Savage Dragon and Youngblood as well,
Where? Wait. Who? Where?
the
Where is
bottom
she?
left corner on the TV, bottom of the page.
Oh, all right, all right. Yeah, I gotcha.
See her down there?
Yeah, yeah. It's like Trish Tilby. Trish Tilby was the X-Men
Yeah.
that went out
In
with the
Entropy
beats.
Alliance, I think it's like Hector Delgado. I have like reference to this guy, oh, Hector Delgado says this. And it's the character from G.I. Joe and Transformers and
Huh, that's cool.
Inhumanoids. And he's based on the guy who opened up Al Capone's vault or whatever. Freaking
Oh yeah,
Geraldo
Geraldo.
Rivera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like Hector Ramirez or something like that. And it
Did
was
you
like
watch that? Did you watch the opening of the vault
I did, of
live?
course. Didn't you?
I watched it.
I did.
That might be big TV's biggest letdown of all
Remember
time.
on Titanic, the same thing happened to Geraldo, boss, and his career never came back.
Well, there's a whole bunch of dollars, but they're all mushed mushed up.
That was pretty funny.
Hilarious.
But
It's one
yeah,
of those
so
things.
we keep going through here, and we got Mark Silvestri playing some like funny little stuff right here. And these are Timmy's collection of robot toys. These are all
Yeah.
like little robotic walk around, living cybernetic dolls that Jimmy built for Timmy. And I guess they're like the little toy men from Blade Runner or whatever that walk around,
Yeah, yeah.
Welcome back, JF. Jiggity jig.
Does he end up a bad guy?
No.
No. In
No.
Alan Moore has a character similar to him, only he's an adult, and it's part of the Prometheus story where it's five swell guys, and the bad guy is actually, spoilers here, is actually the maintenance guy, he's like a brilliant maintenance guy, and he's like he becomes like a Joker type character.
It's like Goodwill Hunting or whatever. Like he was cleaning up, but he was a super brilliant like janitor.
Right. But I guess he just hates the five swell guys, so he wants to kill them and stuff. So I don't know. I'm gonna go over that eventually.
Well, if it's Alan Moore's writing, it's probably pretty good.
Yeah,
just say
yeah,
that.
It's bizarre.
Prometheus.
Prometheus. Have you ever read any Prometheus?
No, I haven't.
Promethea, not Prometheus.
Promethea, yeah.
He explains all of his religious views in Promethea. Prometheus? Prometheus?
I like the ones where like I like saying Supreme, where he'll just like deal with things like the imaginary stream or whatever, or like
right.
There was what is that one freaking Flex Mentallo, where it talks about like the reality, of your imagination versus the reality of the world you live in, and how both are just as substantially real. Like, it talks about how like things in your reality could not exist until they first existed into the reality of your imagination. Like there was no chair until a man imagined a chair and then made a drawing of the chair, and then the chair became real. And he was like, that's how, it's like in another universe, he's like, the superheroes you make up are all real, and they're only real because you made them up in your mind first, and then there's like literally like in his Supreme stuff, it'll be like it'll just be like Supreme will be like the first page. He'll just be walking into a room and like he'll be doing a job, and he's like, "Oh, I don't remember exactly what was happening to me. I'm so confused. Sometimes I get confused between what's real and what's a dream. I guess right here I'm an artist, and oh, these are my papers I'm turning in, you know." And it'll
Right.
be because
Yeah.
like Alan Moore will just be like reimagining the character like nothing like it was before. So he just
Yeah. Yeah.
recreates it and then has the character like living those exact extremities and then that exact moment or whatever, you know, like
Yeah. 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 It's like you said you never watched or read the what's the it's the Superman one where the alien attaches the plant to
the
him
Black
and
Dahlia or whatever. No, I've never
he
read it, but I know what you're talking about.
right.
The man who has everything.
Right, right. So in the cartoon, like he remembers Krypton and all this stuff. But in the book,
Remembers a
there's
past
like
that never
KK.
happened or whatever.
Yeah, there's like it's they have like a KKK kind of group that are like after the Jor-Els or like his whole
For the
family.
elves. Yeah.
Yeah, the elves. Yeah. So like they're these red robed and they look just like they're the clan. So it's there's a lot more to it in the comic book than in
Dude, like he
the
like
movie.
always like touches base on themes like that. Like in the Supreme like year, it's like the what is it called? It's like the year of Supreme or the Supreme story of the year or something like that. It's called, and it touches base on like all these different stories. Like there's a like there's a Silver Age story in there, and then there's like a Mad Magazine parody in there,
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah.
there's a whole
I can
bunch of
picture that.
different ones. And he touches base on something like that in one of those stories. Like, gosh, I can't quite remember, but God, he's so good at just like taking all those old school ideas and like injecting them like in newer concepts or taking
Yeah.
newer
Yeah.
concepts and injecting those older kind of ideas and ideologies into it. But there's a scene where it's like they're in an old town. It's like the Silver Age heroes, and they're in like a EC comics, like say a EC horror, like Tales from the Crypt type of
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
And they like they stop this woman from killing a man, and they're like, oh, like we've got to tell the authorities, like we got to tell the police. And then they go to tell the police, but the police officer is the guy the woman is cheating with. It's like she's going to kill her husband because she's cheating with
Right.
someone else.
Yeah.
And you find out the police is the man she's cheating with, and they're like, well, we'll tell the mayor what's going on with these police officers. And they go to the mayor, and the mayor is like, oh, the mayor's already at the town meeting. And then they go to the town meeting. And the town meeting is a Ku Klux Klan meeting. They're hanging a black guy, like
Right. Right.
there's this
Yeah.
sense of like every layer of like authority has been corrupted by the cheapness of man or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what he's into. Yeah. Definitely. So, and then we have the final thing. I like this page. I don't know what this is. What's that?
That's what's his name? Wild Blade or something, or Saw Blade or something like that. His name
Is that this guy?
yeah, that's his
Yeah.
arms. He has three
Oh, all
giant
right.
robot arms that are saws.
Oh, okay. Okay. I guess
Saw
that
Blade
would be cool if I understood.
Sawzall or
It.
something his name is or whatever. He really
Right.
has a great segment in the next issue, like where him and
Yeah.
Ripclaw have a big fight. Obviously, you gotta have a guy with three giant chainsaws on one side, versus the guy with the giant, cybernetic claws or whatever, like,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of fun. It's gorgeously, I mean, he's just a really, and once again, he's an amazing looking character. I mean, that he's relegated to the Cyberforce universe, and that like someone like him never got unleashed in a universe like Marvel or DC, or that Marvel and DC have never had the brains to just rip it off and put something like that in their universe seems a shame to me, because it's such a rad design. Like a dude with three giant chainsaws for arms on one side of his body. You know what I mean?
I often think about like how cool would it be to have my characters you know, after we die, we want our characters to continue on and stuff. How cool would it be to have Marvel or DC continue
Yeah,
publishing
dude,
and
you know,
creating
wouldn't
and
that be
stuff?
badass to have like, you know, a Savage sort of Morgrim black and white
Yeah,
magazine, even if there was just
yeah,
three
yeah,
of them made or something, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Or the
Like, you know, like,
Entropy Alliance by Marvel or DC.
yeah, you know, for sure, dude. You know, like fucking what's the like Entropy Alliance versus the Authority?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would be cool.
You know what I mean? Like,
That'd be awesome. So DC,
but
if you're listening, look us up.
I'll tell you what, man, we're easy. We're gonna come cheap, man. We're a couple of like
Yeah,
cheap ladies right
definitely,
here. Um,
definitely.
but this is another really gorgeous like example of like Mark's work. I love how this figure in the foreground here is all black and white, you know, just I mean a silhouette.
Yeah,
But we still get this, you know, like, you know, it's just an odd thing, but it just works really well. And then I love the debris, you know, like I totally rip this off all the time and I do debris just like this with these
yeah, me
little,
too.
just like, I'll just do like these little blocks, you know, and then put shapes across them. Like I'll
Yeah,
do this exact thing, you know, the
yeah,
smoke, it's fantastic. I love this you know blue electric guy, you know, like freaking I just everything about it kills for me. I love Killjoy right here and her little like short half military jacket thing she got going on, like you
yeah.
know,
That's
just like
cool.
I
Don't
think
love
the
that
only
guy.
generic one is this guy and this like shocker looking guy in the
Yeah,
background. I think you know they
yeah,
could have lost him and like no one would have been affected at all. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
yeah.
dude, just a great looking page. I thought when it came out, just an amazing book. I freaking loved this book, and I could not get enough of it. And as I say, like you can possibly maybe very lightly see it here. There's the Silvestri signature right here across. You know, it's
Where?
in gold. It's like it's freaking. It's like right here. You see it? Like right here. See, like the gold going across. That's like the gold stripe going across his leg right here. It's like Mark Silvestri's signature with one of those like gold pins, you know, like they had back in the day. You know.
Oh, you mean your? Oh, yeah, yours is signed.
Yeah, it's signed.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my copy like, what? What are you
Yeah.
talking
Where's
about?
mine at?
No, that's
No,
awesome.
no.
That's awesome that
I
yours
actually
is
have
signed.
the authentication, you know, frisket that
Yeah,
goes with it or whatever, you know what I
yeah,
mean, to show that it was like at the event. So not that it's worth
that's cool.
anything because of that or anything, but yeah.
Hey, it's still cool.
I was a super big fan. I love like the pink coming under here, you know what I mean? Like, dude, like I
Yeah,
just the colors on this thing are dope. Like you'll see me use that color scheme quite a bit, like the pink and the purple in the background, like that. Like
yeah, yeah.
I love Cyberforce. You know, I give this book a 10 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like, I'd almost like, you know, like it as much like I've almost read this as much as I've read The Dark Knight, you know, like honestly. Like I would probably read this one like maybe once a year, you know, the whole
Yeah,
miniseries, you know, the whole 4 issue miniseries.
yeah. I would not be so generous. I would not be so generous. The writing is really pretty generic, and I understand that you love it despite the genericness, and the characters for me are kind of generic. Other
I
than
love it
like I
because of the
said,
genericness, I guess. You know, maybe
yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
I
you
guess
know,
the reasons I'm not really as much into it are some of the reasons that you really love it, which that's totally cool. I enjoyed it. I probably enjoyed it more when I first got it than reading it, yesterday. Um,
right.
like yeah, it kind of bothers me that it's just so much of an X-Men ripoff that I really feel like that they a disservice because I feel like they could have gone into a unique and fresh direction, and I probably would have
Well, you
enjoyed it
know,
more.
I totally appreciate it. And I mean that's always very true.
Yeah.
But you know, given the time frame it was born in, and you know, like I personally like there's just this is just like I mean, I feel like some of the stuff like this or like Wildcats, like they're like blueprints for how like the Marvel films look. You know what I mean? Like the Marvel films look and feel like the way these things look and feel to me. You know,
Yeah.
like these like this. You know, being introduced to Cyberforce like this was almost as cinematic as getting introduced to like Iron Man in the movie or like
Yeah.
the first X-Men film for me. I just thought like like it's just so beautifully like imagine the way it's laid out. We have this beautiful shot, you know, her tears and then the rain striking her face, you know, her running through this windswept alleyway, you know, and then like
were you reading X-Men when this came out?
of course. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean I followed Jim Lee from the X-Men to Wildcats like a you know like a religion, dude. Like I
Right.
couldn't wait for Wildcats after him like you know reintroducing X-Men, you know, making X-Men #1 and you know knowing that he was going right from like recreating the X-Men to finally doing his own book full of his own characters. Like I was completely on board, dude.
Yeah.
You know, and I love this shot of you know, I love how anime or like storyboard like it feels. Like we have the shot of her coming over the fence, then her coming past the camera. Then, you know, the bad guys come storming through the fence with an explosion, you know. Then a close-up of the bad guy's face, you know, as they're tracking her. Then we have this great shot, you know, from up above, just like in Tim Burton's Batman movie. It's
Yeah,
you
I
know
was
what I
gonna say
mean? Like,
it feels very Batmanish.
yeah, cinematic. It just feels just like, you know, that scene where looking down at the couple, you know, before they get
Yeah.
freaking, you know, and then this beautiful, like I said before, you know, a beautiful, you know, close up face shot because, like, you know, really beautiful close up face shot. You know what I mean? It looks
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it really like sets the page off or whatever, you know, like freaking. And then this fantastic double page spread of him just like leaping down into the city with lightning going off in this purple sky, looking like, you know, like this is happening in the same part of the city, or this is happening in New York City on the same night as Terminator is happening over in Los Angeles, or you know what I mean? Like, you know, like I just loved like it all. It looks like a James Cameron, you know, freaking lit scene or whatever from like one of those early Terminators or something like that. You know, like I
Yeah.
was just completely on board with Cyberforce. I loved it. My favorite of all the Image books.
That's cool. That's cool.
And
I think
marks it
my
up to my
favorite is
favorite
Spawn. And your favorite artist?
Yeah, my favorite artist of all time, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's
For
awesome.
sure.
That's why I got a 10. That's why you gave it a 10, which makes
So, you
sense.
know,
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun looking at this book today. I'm glad everybody joined us. I hope you guys had fun too. I hope you like get a little bit of a kinetic energy from how much love like you know was expressed from this book from me. And I know Alex had a good time looking at it. It's just a really great comic.
Yeah.
It is derivative in every single way something can be derivative. Let's not get that, you know, wrong here. But it's derivative in a fantastic way. And if you love the X-Men and if you were looking for a little bit more X-Men juice when you were an 11-year-old back in the day, Cyberforce was just up your alley, I promise you. And I know it's still being published today, and it's still, you know, a pretty fun book. And I hope they have many years of success.
Definitely. Definitely.
So, how's things going on your end? Anything you want to show before we get out of here?
Nope, just the random access number 40 came out last month. I'm late as always, but everybody's getting all of their copies tomorrow. You can get these at patreon.com/Alexander Turbin. For $3 a month, you get 20 pages of black and white or full color comics, anthology with some really fantastic artists. You'll be happy because the last like 3 or 4 issues have been all forlorn stuff, so that's all you know, cohesive. And but
That's
there's
cool, dude.
you know fantastic stuff. Paul Court, John, Astor doing some fantastic stuff. Some awesome color. Jamie Barrows Brawls on Bad Street, which is really
That's
awesome.
fun seeing that stuff in color for the first time.
Yeah, it is. That wasn't red, right? That wasn't Brawls on Bad Street.
I think. What do you mean? Like, yeah, I think that's in a black and red. Yeah.
Is it black and red?
Yeah, original.
And grim stuff. And so it's and also look at that. A little teaser for Entropy Alliance #1.
Man, dude, that printed up really nice. You got that right to the edges and everything, dude. Like that's awesome, Alex.
Yep. Yeah,
dude,
it came out nice.
That looks good. What?
Yep.
That looks so good. Like awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah. We'll be getting that out shortly.
How are those busts coming out over there? They're all coming out perfect, are they?
Yep, they're coming out perfectly and on time and everything.
Well, you know, people are excited to see those things, and I have to say, I've seen 2 or 3 different reviews of Morgan now, and they
Yeah,
all are really good. People are really
yeah,
talking about
yeah,
how good the art is. You're getting a lot of compliments on the coloring in that book,
yeah,
and the you know the bust that comes with it, and the you know the little poster layout that people are getting, dude. Like, I mean, people are pretty excited for the package, and
yeah.
I
I'm
don't
pretty
hear
happy with
anybody,
it.
you know, reading their stuff and saying that, you know, they're displeased. And I'm hearing a lot of really good complimentary stuff about the oh my god, why is my brain broken? The print, you know, the flat paper
Oh yeah,
print, like, you
the
know,
newsprint. Yeah,
the newsprint. Thank
I
you.
wish I could print everything in that newsprint, but I
They're
just
talking
only
about
have a
like how
limited
great it looks. And you know, he
quality.
said that both copies look really nice. He was saying that the shiny paper one looks really great for really cleanly seeing the visuals and how
Yeah,
crisp it all looks. But that the
yeah,
colors and that it all just feels so good sitting in the newsprint, and that they
yeah,
were really
yeah.
enjoying, you know, the newsprint copy. And you know, I think that's amazing. And you know, I'm here to be, you know, the Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder, telling you, you better be putting all your love into those art pages, man. I don't want to look at Morgrim 2 and see panels that look like you busted them out in 10 minutes, dude. Like, I
No,
want
you
that
won't.
stuff to look good, dude. Like, you
You
know,
definitely
those
won't.
pages, you know, all those original Morgrim, that stuff looks pretty hot, and it's going to be, you know, a challenge to keep up that level of amazing art. You know, the ice,
It
you
is.
know, where the spiders ambush them, and uh, the ice tunnel or the cave or
Yeah,
whatever. Like, dude,
yeah.
that's all really, you know, like, I just want to see the story unfolding and you just keeping up that level of art. No art burnout for Morgrim at all, you
No
know,
art
like,
burnout.
no art burn, man. Just keep that stuff looking tight. Because I know people are excited. Every single person I've seen talk about it ends their statement with saying, I'm really excited for the next issue.
Yeah, I'm super I'm appreciative of all of that stuff.
Yeah, well, you know, you put a lot of hard work into it until it shows.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
did.
I'm Joe Leonardo. I'm the creator of Six Lords of Sound, super heavy metal superheroes in space. This is classic comic book stuff. Also, a highly derivative X-Men ripoff, in case you were wondering. Um, and it's also done in the classic style of like the 1970s heavy metal magazine. And, you know, Six Lords of Sound could easily be, you know, featured in a metal Erlant, and you'd fit right in there without even trying.
Yeah,
Alex and
that
I
alone.
are Meta Erlant. Alex and I are the creators of Entropy Alliance together. This is the first experimental issue that was created, that was the inspiration for the color line, which is coming out shortly. We have issue 1, which is by myself, Jamie Barrows, and Alexander Turbin. That's going to be available very soon. Have issue 2, which is already complete and also following up shortly. So you'll be able to get both of those back to back and read them back to back. And it's going to be, I'm sorry, someone was putting on here. And it's going to be like a really exciting thing. It's a fully cohesive story. It's done in the classic style, and it is very much a DC homage. So try not to hate me too much for how generically modeled
Yeah,
after all the DC characters, all the characters in the story are. But that's where we're headed for with that. And once again, Alexander Turbin and I are comic book creators. This has been Comic Books from Coast to Coast. Today, looking at Cyberforce by Mark Silvestri. We hope you guys had a good time. If you enjoyed the show, please like, follow, and subscribe to Alexander Turbin's YouTube channel. You can reach him on Instagram at Alexander Turbo 04401. Is that
yep.
right?
It's
Oh,
Alex
nice.
Turbin 04401.
Alexander Turbo. And obviously, you can reach me on Instagram at awfullyworld.com or awfullyworld on Instagram. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for visiting with us. And we'll be back next week with more nonsense about more comic books that you guys love. You got anything else for them before we get out of here, Alex?
Nope, give him their marching orders.
Keep on creating.